Welcome back to Sally Acorn Reads Sonic X Episode 79, Goodnight, Sweet Princess. I'm Sally Acorn. Now let's continue this story. The screen returned with Amy knocking on Sonic's door, calling his name lovingly. Sonic's house was similar to the living room you see in the storybook series, with stairs going up. Sonic sat on the couch, his feet on the table with a bored expression on his face. As he heard Amy's knocking, he groaned and sat up straight. It's her again, he muttered in an annoyed tone as he got up and walked towards the door before opening it.
Sonic, you didn't forget about our date tonight, right?
Amy smiled before turning to just walk off. It's probably a joke since Sonic promises Amy a date here and there, mostly when being out of character, and he continuously forgets about them. Of course not, Amy. Besides, I remembered it clearly in my mind, Sonic replied in a happy tone before closing the door again. He walked back to the couch before sitting down with the same bored expression from before. He looked up at something, but it was off screen. The screen turned black again. Oh, come on, I muttered angrily, but I decided to wait again, hoping none of these messages would pop up, but it did. She did something that was extremely wrong to me. I'm not joking. The voice whispered this time. A picture flashing for a split second. Being on my computer, I could reverse the player to the exact point the picture flashed, and I was quite surprised at what I saw. It was Princess Sally. She didn't have a new style or anything. She looked like she did in a much better cartoon show, Sonic the Hedgehog, a.k.a. Sonic Saturday AM. She was staring at me at the screen. Her face looked bland and empty. Sally was missing her mouth, and the whole picture had a red tint to it, especially her now crimson eyes. I snapped a screenshot of it, imported the image to SM Paint, and saved it to my computer. I still have the file. It's called sally.png. I continued to play the file. It took a while for the screen to return again, and the picture of Sally disturbed me, but it also made me happy. Did SEGA not forget about Princess Sally after all? The screen returned. It had a faint white border to show it was a flashback scene. Does anybody remember Rosie the Rascal, the actual sweet little girl before that other pink hedgehog showed up? Yes, she was walking along a forest, humming a playful tune. I think she was voiced by Cream's voice actress, only using a different pitch. Rosie entered a house that I couldn't really recognize. It was a wooden hut with hay for a roof. The camera cut to inside. Most of the things inside were made of wood. At first I thought it was supposed to be something tribal, but then I noticed the handheld computer, Nicole, on a small round table. It hit me. Was this Sally's hut? Indeed. The camera cut to Princess Sally, who looked very pretty in the Sonic X style, by the way, staring out the window. I hope Sonic will return from his mission soon. I'm worried about him. Sally's voice was the voice from the messages and the black screens. Rosie stood there looking at Sally in the background.
Are you Sally Acorn?
Rosie asked curiously. Sally then walked up to Rosie with a nervous expression on her face. Rosie's smile faded, and her expression was blank.
Answer me,
Rosie said in frustration. Sally rolled her eyes, but she answered anyway. Yes, I am. The camera zoomed in on Rosie's face, which isn't usual. Rosie then said,
"And you love Sonic, right? And Sonic loves you."
Sally seemed irritated at that, standing up. "Who are you?" she asked again, sounding unnerved. Rosie didn't stop staring at Sally with those hateful brownish red eyes.
"I am Rosie the Rascal."
The screen cut to black for a final time. As a fan of Sally, I yelled out in dismay. Why would SEGA do this? To me? To Sally? I waited. A tear dripped down from one of my eyes. Be there. Please be there. Come on. The file ended. I was left speechless. I didn't even know what would happen to Sally. Those people at the company got rid of Sally so that nobody would remember her. It stayed that way for a few more minutes before realizing I still had that other file. Hoping Sally would still be on it, I clicked the Preza folder and opened the second DVD file. Black screen, like before. I waited, still confused. The Sally image flashed again. "Sonic," Sally's voice whispered, as an image flashed across the screen of my laptop. It was the same image as before, but the pupils and white parts of her eyes were gone, leaving her with empty black voids. The picture stayed this time, followed by a long silence. I was about to close the file, but before I could, I then noticed the picture was changing. Black, gooish tears started to run down Sally's cheeks. Slowly, very slowly. Suddenly, a loud screech blasted out of my speakers. I then covered my ears immediately when I heard it. Red-tinted lights were now in place of her pupils, staring right at me. I jumped, and those red pupils followed me wherever I moved. I saw the message from her reading. "Let me free." The image disappeared as the screeching stopped, and the screen went to static. And that's where I'll stop for part 2. Stay tuned for Sally Acorn reads. Stay tuned for part 3 of Sally Acorn reads Sonic X episode 79. Good night, sweet princess.